Call the meeting to order is 6:02. And if folks will mind, we'll pledge allegiance and then we'll do it prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Murphy?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day. We thank you for blessing us, Father. We just count our blessings and just so many things that we have that we're grateful for. Father, we ask for your guidance in this meeting. Help us to do well. And we also lift up those in this hurricane's path, Father, that you protect people, Father, and protect the first responders that are out there helping. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Thank you. And so we'll do a roll call. Mr. Arsenault.
Yeah.
Mr. Leo Cavney.
Here.
I'm here, Danny Hall. Mr. Baptiste. Here. And Ms. Hutchinson. Here. Also here is Chief Geisler and Assistant Chief Gilliott. Ms. Teresa is out sick. She's got something going on, but she needed to get out of here. Also with us is PMI folks. We got Mr. Boninski and Mr. Dana Howard. I don't see Councilman Impastato. He said he was going to try to make it, but he's probably had something else going on. And I would like to recognize the members of the department, the folks from the public that are with us tonight. Thank you for coming. Okay, next up is going to be the approval of the minutes for September 18th.
Motion to be approved.
So we do have a motion to approve, and we have a second. Was there any discussion of the board concerning the minutes? I hear none. Any from the admin? Do we have any comments from the public? I hear none, so let's vote. All in favor of accepting, say aye. Any opposed, say no, so the motion carries. Chief, we got some employee recognitions.
Yes, sir, I do. Y'all want to start with yours? And you want me to...
It doesn't matter. You pick it.
All right, we'll go with some of ours, and we have a special one from the Board of Commissioners, but I'll address some anniversaries and some new hires. We'll start with our new hires. I don't know if any of them are here. I don't see any of them here. But we have Keith Kearns back part-time. He's doing some shift part-time. Jordy Johnson, he's a new firefighter, 10 years of service, 10 plus years of service. We hired him full-time. And then Daniel Fortune, he's part-time. And he just came on recently as well.
He's a 22-year veteran.
And so I want to recognize some of these employees' anniversaries. I don't think, I know Chuck Adams is 7 years of service. He's a paramedic and operator, works with us part-time. He is in Ohio, so he could not make it. Spencer Ballet, 4 years of service, part-time paramedic operator. He is unable to make it as well. And Miss Teresa McCarthy, 12 years of service. Obviously, she's not here because she went home this afternoon not feeling too well. And we have one more employee, Mr. Gary R.T., firefighter operator, intermediate, so we'll recognize him. And then I saw him.
He's back there eating cookies in the back.
So we'll call Doc up front. We'll take some pretty little pictures and recognize Doc. Doc has been with the department for 20 years of service. He was here when I started and he hasn't gone away yet.
Did that include his volunteer time?
I believe so, yeah. That's back in 2004. Is that right?
Probably so.
You have somebody think you want you to take pictures of the phone, or you got it?
So 20 great years of service. He's going to give us a speech right after.
You're supposed to hold that. I'm supposed to hold with you.
Ready?
Yeah. Forward, 1, 2, 3. Gotcha.
You got anything to say?
Put on the hump.
I would like to say that it's been a privilege working here, that we have a great group of guys, and never a dull moment. We've seen a whole lot of things, good and bad, and But, I'm proud that this department actually takes care of business and we get the job. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. So that's our recognition. I know y'all had one employee y'all would like to recognize.
Yeah, sure. And so folks, you may have remembered, we started something earlier in the year. It was the Chairman's Award. And it was, it's all about finding this individual who really puts forth a significant effort. And, so they don't come all the time. I think it's been 3 or 4 months since we actually had one. But talking to folks and to the chiefs, and there's one individual that did stand out, and we felt it would be appropriate to give him his recognition, and we're recognizing Captain Steele. Is he here?
Yes, better be, no, good.
So, you don't have to sneak in, come on in. So some of the accolades that I got back from the folks here is that he's recently made confirmed in the captain's position. Ish, okay.
Yeah, he will be.
He will be, all right. Some of the other things they talk about is his leadership. So he's been exhibiting leadership. He's going really doing other things. And one of them is a sign of a good leader, and that's developing a brotherhood or camaraderie amongst his folks. And so that was really the thing that caught my eye, was that, this guy, not only is he just doing his job as a captain, but he's also making sure that people feel like they got a place here. This is their home. And that's very important. That's what's going to make the difference in a regular fire department or one that truly exceeds. So, I just want to recognize you for that, and the board does. And with it, you get a gift certificate for J.D. Brown, so you can bring whoever you'd like to go. And we'd like to give you this and as representative of the board. So you gotta hold your thing, just like that. Okay.
Good job, Tim. Great decorator, too. Good job.
Yeah, that was nice and tight.
Okay, next up, treasurer's report, and you still gonna be taking care of that.
Yes, sir. Referring to page 104 of the receipts and disbursements, quite a bit of positive news. We are within 60,000, we're 75% through the year. We are at 97.94% of our budget. We are within $60,000 of meeting our max goal for the approved budget. We will exceed that between now and year end, so that's always a positive news. Based on the EMS revenues, the interest income, and the projected ad valorem. So we're very excited about that. And we did receive, again, we're at 98% of the budget here. The budget is on track with those adjustments that were approved by the board. So the budget, if you look at it in current form, has not been amended to reflect the pay increases and the other things that went into effect June 1st. That will occur typically closer to the end of the year, or we can do it in January after we close the year, which makes no sense, but it meets LLA standards. So there's really nothing alarming in the budget to highlight because we are on trend with those improvements by the board.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, I'll ask any specific questions that you may have, but your bank balances are listed in there, your totals, but kind of the biggest number on the page is the statement of cash flows and your cash at the end of the period, which is September 24 was $1,587,273 for all cash holdings of the department. So one of the questions was, can we afford this? And obviously you have just under 1.6 million sitting in total cash. Now, that includes restricted funds, but you're also receiving actual active income throughout the year as well.
through ambulance.
Yes, sir.
I think we started to see a few little bitty ad valorem payments coming in. I've seen something that were relatively small numbers.
You should get your holdback money, which is your 2%,
Yeah,
which should be in that $40,000 to $50,000 range.
that should come
In
in November.
December, actually in December.
December. Okay.
There's an opportunity to do an early collection of the 24 levy, which would come on December 10th. That will be identified as a separate deposit from
Okay.
the sheriff's office, and that is actually money that we will allocate to the 2025 operations, even though it was an early collection of 2024 levy.
It's 2025 money.
It's 2025 money, yes, sir. So if the district were to have surplus, we don't want that to artificially inflate it,
Mhm.
because it really is 25 operational money.
Ms. Hutchinson, Mr. Treasurer, do you have any comments?
Not many.
No, you?
Question, I didn't count how many reports we got. Have we transferred the bulk?
I was going to bring that up. We have. So what we've done is we've condensed down the various accounts that we've had down to the critical few. And so what's remaining is the sinking fund. We have a money market now established where we took some of those other holdings and moved to the money market, and we have our operating account.
Okay, so no more T-bills or,
The T-bills are still, my understanding, still existing. The only thing that we have done was the savings accounts.
yeah, just the balance in the checking, or one of the accounts.
So let me be clear, we have a sinking fund,
Mhm.
we have a money market, and we have our operating fund.
Okay, that's it, we're down to those three?
Correct.
Okay.
And that was approved by the board at last week.
Yes,
I consider it done.
it's done. It's done. And the plan is, we're not gonna change anything with the sheriff's office. We're gonna let them collect and deposit it into our operating account. And then we'll move it from the operating account, the bulk of it, over to the money market account and utilize the operating fund, keep it at a minimum level.
Yes, for
Uh,
protection
protecting and
and get more interest on, well, we're getting
I
good.
think our interest rates are gonna be about the same. The biggest advantage to it is gonna be the security that it offers, not having that bulk of money in the account.
And then going forward, we're just gonna go with money market, right?
As it's a future, well, the only thing we have considered and agreed to was the money market. Now, we do have the option of investment account.
Within,
Right, so we've completed the signatures on that, believe, you've finally, everybody's fine, you
I
saw
did
them?
mine yesterday.
Okay, so, yeah, so we have the opportunity to make some investments,
Mhm,
predominantly gonna be in T-bills, but in CDs.
mhm.
We'll take that money from the money market to fund those, if we elect to do it.
And there's also money markets that do invest in things like treasuries.
I suppose,
Yeah,
I suppose.
so we have leeway within the money market, account.
I don't know how these are actually structured.
Yeah, city paperwork.
That's a question we'll have to ask.
To get it done. Alrighty, thank you.
And then I do have a question on the credit cards. And I know the answer to it, but I'm just gonna have to ask it. Looks like we have a charge of approximately $2,000 to Academy Sport Goods. Is that for the exercise equipment? Yes. Okay.
And I have a question also. On the same, for two questions. We didn't pay the bill last month, we've got a finance charge. Well, I'll talk to Teresa.
Yeah,
Because that's not usual.
Yeah,
It looks like there was no payment at all. But anyway, I'll see somebody can tell me when that is. And then there's, down on September 5th, see an international transaction fee, and then right under that, it's
Where are we looking at? Is
in the
that,
middle of this,
is that the credit card statement?
yes, the credit card statement, yeah, bill credit card statement. OCE Wondershare.com, Hong Kong. Now, I think I know what that is. But why are we dealing with a Chinese company?
That's actually the company we're using to stream multi-stream. I guess that's their parent company.
I looked up what they do.
Yeah, so I guess it's their parent company, but, I'm guessing they're out of Hong Kong.
They're out of Hong Kong. And that's why the international fee. But anyway, I mean, it's not a lot of money. I'm personally getting more and more concerned about dealing with Chinese anyway.
So I did
Even
some,
about half of what I own comes from China.
yeah, I did some research on the different options, and that was the cheaper of the options that was, suitable for what we needed. So,
Yeah.
obviously, we're not, stuck with them. If we decide there's another option, we can roll
Okay, I
with
just
that.
thought to bring that up, and, I mean, obviously, we don't have secrets. No industrial secrets or whatever, but, it did catch my eye, that's all. And I wonder if there was something else comparable, but you're the man for that.
Yep, that's what that's for. It's a restream equipment.
Yeah. Okay.
Any more on the treasurer's report? So we'll need a motion to accept the treasurer's report. So we have a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a second on it. Any further discussion of the board concerning the treasurer's report? Any discussion from the admin?
No, sir.
Any discussion from the audience? I see people shaking their head no. So with that, all in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, say aye. Any opposed? I hear none, so the motion to accept the treasurer's report is passed. Brings us to the chief's report.
Yes, sir. Just some year-to-date numbers. Year-to-date, we're at 1,383 total calls. In September, we ran 149 calls, and we received 0 mutual aid as of this report, but that was through September. We did do some mutual aid responses during October. We had a couple structure fires. The first structure fire was a 2-story confirmed structure fire, so we did request mutual aid due to the potential for that house fire to get out of control, so we did request them. I will say that we probably had that under control before those mutual aid units got on scene, but they were there in the event that that call progressed and got worse.
Could I make a comment on that?
Yeah, please.
So, I get these calls, I've showed you, get this street wide, and I get the calls, and it just, that one came in, right, and it caught my eye. And so I got to the fire, and I got there relatively quick. I think I got there about the same time you did. I think you zoomed on past me there. Yeah, but, this is what I wanted to bring out about it, is that, and I've talked to Murphy about this, and you hear all the time, people talk about emergency response and how emergency response is organized chaos. That's what they say that all the time.
They know.
Well, so Murphy, he's been around the day in fire service, and I think Mr. Rick's back there, he's got a lot, and we have our guys who've got a considerable amount of time. And I do as well. I was a young man running around in the streets too. And what I've learned over time is that's a nonsense statement. It is not organized chaos. It is a very predictable event. And what allows it to be predictable is various components that go into it. But one of the things is leadership. If the chief, if the leader is panicking, and I used to see them all the time. They have the radio up here, they walk around the building screaming at a radio. So if you have leaders that are very confident in themselves as well as their people, so you can start predicting what the outcome is. Well, the other thing that you're going to use to predict the outcome is the competencies of the people that's there, right? So the workers. Are they well trained? Are they well fit to do the job? And then lastly, are they equipped well enough to do that job? And so my observation, this is what I seen. I got on scene, I walked past a young little boy that come out of the house. He had a whole different issue. But anyway, I could see the smoke. I got to the house and I looked up at the vents at the top and they were just spinning. Looked like they would be getting ready to leave the building. They were just spinning as fast as they can. And a lot of deep, dark smoke coming out of that building. So, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking the pressure is increasing in this building and there's a lot of unburnt fuel coming out of that smoke. And then I made it all the way around the building, and when I got to the other end, I was watching the attack of the building. And I was satisfied. I knew what the outcome of this was going to be. That outcome was very predictable. In fact, I left, and I went home, and I said, why are you back so soon? I said, it's going to be fine, the house is going to be standing. And I never went back. To this day, I never went back, and somebody have to tell me, is it still standing?
Yes.
Is the roof still on?
And remodeled, they're already doing, work to fix everything.
So they're in the process of remodeling. So all this yakking coming out of me is I want to compliment the people of this fire department. Based on that fire, based on that observation, based upon my experience, very well done. So my hats are off to you folks.
We agree. Yeah, we appreciate it. We have good people on scene who are able to act and it makes our jobs easier. So we appreciate that compliment and hopefully that testament is, shown towards that family who was, able, obviously heavy smoke and water damage, but able to come back from that and have a house that's still standing. So that's something that we're proud of and hopefully we can continue to accomplish those goals. Hopefully we don't have any more fires in the future, but
You're going to have them.
obviously we want to be able to provide that same service to each of our members in the communities. So I appreciate that, and on behalf of our staff, we appreciate that. Moving forward, we had just a few days later another structure fire. This one was a single wide mobile home. Unfortunately, that one had more extensive damage. You're dealing with a single wide, you're dealing with a home that's very old. And unfortunately, that one did have some more extensive damage to that home. And then we had a couple of mutual aid assistance calls. We responded to Highway 36 for mutual aid request at District 8.
District 7.
District 7, I'm sorry. Thank you, Jim. We were canceled and did not arrive on that scene. That was an unfortunate call. And then we also were dispatched to a call in Pearl River for medical, which we were canceled fairly quick. So
That one did get canceled.
it did get canceled, yes, sir. I don't think I have anything else on my report. Do we have anything else?
It's another structure fire, man.
No, it's not. Blood sugar dropping.
And then one more thing, our coverage as far as med unit and paramedic coverage. This last month, we were essentially at 100% paramedic coverage for our unit.
Good. All right. Anybody have anything?
Teeth.
Everybody like a piece of candy?
No.
Don't go very far with the ambulance, by the way.
For
Okay.
the insulin, that's great.
Don't need any input. Keep away from it. All right, so I do have some questions, and pardon me for chewing. Have we had any updates concerning the ad valorem taxes? I know historically we should start hearing some firm things coming back from the assessor. I haven't heard anything.
He has not released a certified grant recap to my knowledge.
He's told me by email that we may not see that till the beginning of November,
Okay,
for the best.
okay.
They've been very quiet, haven't they?
No.
So,
Oh, well, on social media they have.
Yeah, we've been back and forth discussing some of those things through email, and he did tell me that we may not see that till the beginning of November.
well, I'm surprised we don't get it by November. Everybody, it's no big secret about the kerfuffle that's going on within the parish of Aldi about taxes, and I know Slidell is having deep conversations with the assessor, and I'll leave it at that. So just to put everybody on kind of notice, it's until we get those hard numbers, it's gonna be very hard to predict the budget. So we don't know, we're making budgets based upon maybes. So
I'm sure they're overwhelmed with people contesting.
I have no idea.
There's a lot of people contesting.
So, just keep in mind that we do have a budget. It's out there. We're gonna talk about it later in the meeting. But, we may have to go revisit that budget even after it's been adopted. Because we simply, at this point, simply don't know what the bottom line's gonna be. I have no way to know if it's gonna change or anything. The other thing to consider, it's not necessarily about the budget, but I had an opportunity to talk to Councilman Impastato, and I was curious about where we were with millages and how far out are they. And we've got a millage that's coming relatively short, I guess, in the scheme of things. We've got our 10 mil, that one is 9 point something.
9.9.
Yeah, 10 mil is gonna be coming due in 4 years.
Up for renewal.
Up for renewal in 10 years. And so talking with Councilman Impastato, we should really try to start thinking about getting that millage on the ballot within 2 years. So that would be 25, 26, 27 roughly is when we should be doing that. And the thought is that if for some reason the renewal failed, we still had more time to go back and ask the people again. And so we really need to start thinking probably next year, start working with the community to get them to understand what we're doing and the progress that we're making and gaining the support. So we probably need to get in our brains about getting with homeowners associations and folks relatively soon. Election 2 years away seems like 2 years away, but, to get us there, we could, depending on if it's a fall election or a spring election, if it's a spring election, we would probably be in the throes of working with the community to get them to see where we're at and why we need things, probably the end of next year, 25. So I just wanted to bring that out. Now, the more significant thing about that millage is that millage is the only millage that provides operating funds for EMS. So if that millage doesn't get renewed, we'll be in a bit of a pickle about what to do.
Right.
So that millage is a very critical millage. Well, it's not just the operating, because I believe the revenue on it is about 500,000 to 600,000
At the current level,
at the
correct,
current level. So that could go up some.
correct.
That could go up some. I think we could survive a little bit of a hit in that arena, but we can't survive the hit of no operating funds for EMS. So it's going to be a very critical knowledge. So just wanted to get that out there a little bit early. Anything else, Chief?
That concludes our report. My report is.
Assistant Chief, you have anything?
No, sir, it's part of the chief.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything from the folks? No? All right, old business. So updates on accounts receivable. So that the board can better track the money that's owed to the department through the EMS billing. It's no new news to you guys that we're working to try to have better accounting on it. I spoke with Teresa, she was gonna give a report tonight, but she's suffering from an illness. And so just to give you what I know, is that Teresa has been working with, the Coronis, the billing company, and with Tim,
Correct.
with PMI. And it looks like we're gonna have a process now to where when we do our treasurer's report, we'll have some items to discuss. We'll know how much we billed out, what is owed us, what's old. And that way we can start having conversations about what to do with that in lieu of waiting 3 to 5 years and then we have to deal with very uncomfortable conversations. Okay, so just to let the board know that we're working at it, we're getting very close. Okay. And then next up for the old business is going to be the top-down review of the HR audit, and Mark is going to give us a bit of a briefing on that.
I did have a chance to talk with Andrea Taylor, who's our human resource officer, excuse me. And she was very pleased to come on site. I want to give accolades to the department and to the commissioners. She was able to meet with about 90% of all personnel, including part-time personnel. Those that we did meet with, we were doing some follow-up appointments with that could be done as easily as by a Zoom call or things of that nature. To give you a 50,000-foot overview and not to steal her thunder, because she did a tremendous job, the atmosphere of the department is extremely positive. We asked some critical questions of, can you see this to be a department you wish to retire from? And the universal answer was yes. So I think the improvements that the board has done are already being seen in the workforce and the workplace. Some of your known issues are known issues, i.e. Station 32, and the status of some of your equipment that, should have an antique tag on it versus a license plate. So again, there will be a full formal report hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, definitely before year end. Everything was positive. She did both a summary questionnaire where people completed it, and then she also had a verbal engagement with everybody, and everybody was asked the same questions. So I believe it will give you what you're looking for from a board as you develop a strategic plan. How does that impact both personnel and facilities to go forward? One of the areas that came out was a wish for some additional training. And I believe the administration and the board are taking steps to address that. There was one comment about physical fitness. Obviously, you highlighted the credit card statement where you purchase some physical fitness equipment. So one of the things that typically happens when you do an audit is you capture things that are already in progress that sometimes your personnel may not know are in progress for their benefit. So I think the board will be generally and overall pleased with the outcome.
Perfect. And the report was gonna offer recommendations as well.
Yes, and just for the benefit of everybody that was interviewed, nobody's comments were identified by name. So it is a true anonymous statement that you would receive from any member that was interviewed.
Can I do comment on Andrea?
Okay.
She was very professional, very pleasant. We had a nice conversation, 10, 15 minutes, went very well,
Well, you heard me say this numerous times, and as you get to brag on the department, I get to brag on my staff. And the comment is, once you meet them, you really don't want to talk to Mark anymore. So I'm doing a good job. If my staff carries that motto, so. Yeah.
You're working your way out of a job.
So, well, I don't know about that, but I'm hopefully surrounding myself with people that are much better than I am.
I was impressed with it.
Yes, she was. Thank you.
I have a question. When it's just in surveys and interviews like this in general, what has been your experience about the percentage of engagement? You said we're at 90. Is normal 100? Is normal 80, 50%? What's normal?
Well, that's a double-sided question. Engagement is, yes, you can sit down in front of everybody,
Yeah.
but can you engage with everybody?
Yeah.
And I would say that we had a 90% engagement in appointments, and we had 100% engagement in responses from those
Okay.
appointments.
So
If that makes sense, where, because you can have someone be a local.
it does, but given the norm, would the
Oh, it's
norm
very high.
being,
Very high.
so we're on the higher side
Yes, sir.
of things, which is, that's good. So people felt good, they could come speak, which is, that's a great measurement in of itself, in my opinion. People was able to come and say what was on their
And
mind.
there was
We're
no,
looking forward.
no one expressed any hesitation to engage with Andre.
Right along with that, I'll comment, I have to wait for Danny to finish.
Yeah.
So I'm
Some of
gonna.
them took longer than others. I'm sorry, I just.
No, I set times, and I just show up when
I was supposed, I got here at 4:30 and she had already left.
Yeah, and I think, well, I know you have some outside appointment and we need to work through that, but we're gonna make arrangements to get your comments on there as well. And I think we have one or two, but I mean, our core was to interview at a minimum all full-time personnel, but I would say, almost all part-time personnel were included in that as well. And actually, I think that adds a little bit of extra color to it because they are typically transitory. They may be here today and not be here tomorrow. So typically, if they have a flaming arrow, it's quicker to shoot that arrow than someone who may not be.
Because I hadn't been, are we gonna get like a printout of the questions and a breakdown of the questions and, some of the improvements?
Yes.
I mean, even though it's positive, you know, if I'm an employee, someone will say, yeah, you're doing this, and this great, we'd like to see this, you know.
There'll be multiple categories for you to review,
Okay.
from morale all the way to facilities.
Any other comments? Thanks, Mark, for sharing that. I was very excited to see what that report looks like. All right, so that concludes the old business, moving us into new business, and new business has a lot of housekeeping resolutions that simply just need to be signed off and put into the record.
And Mr. Chairman, if you permit me, I think the agenda posted, the official agenda has these in sequence where they're not in sequence on your packet, but technically resolutions 32 through 35 are housekeeping that require nothing more than being signed into the record because they are memorializing the actions of the board from the last meeting.
Okay, so, yeah, they are.
So no motions or?
No motions. are
No,
required.
no motion, so we'll go ahead and move through them. So, the resolution 2032, that was the one to forgive the unrecoverable debt, you all recall.
From former
And that,
employees.
yeah, that was some employees that were here. And so that one is taken care of. I was finding that my side in here, Mr. Leo, so my side's already done. The next one up I have is,
The OSC classification 33.
that was 32 record, then I got 33, yeah. The approved establishment of civil service classification.
The only comment on that is that resolution is basically a fill in the blank.
Yeah,
The administration has engaged with the Office of the State Examiner on the questionnaire, and that would be a 30 to 90 day process for them to recommend this is actually what that classification should be. And with the board signing this into the record, this would automatically be amended to reflect that OSC classification.
and you guys got that underway already?
Yes, in fact, I got additional surveys for existing classes as well, so we'll revisit those as well.
Then we have the resolution 34, that's the district credit card. That's basically terminating former Chief Seacar's credit card, issuing a new credit card to Chief Geisler, and you had yours. So we're doing a new issue to the assistant chief. And that resolution also has the $20,000 limit to it. For that one, it's on.
Yeah.
All right. 30,
Be 35.
yeah, 35 is next. another record keeping to review the possible engagement of employee benefits broker. And we spoke about that and
I plan to, I was in class the last couple of days.
Yeah, you- I get it, you're pretty loaded, but, and what's next?
The resolution we board to take action on is resolution 2024-36, which is simply to advertise the 2025 budget for public opinion.
Yeah.
That will have to be advertised for 10 days in the official, no less than 10 days in the official journal.
Yeah.
And because your operating budget exceeds $500,000 per annum, you will be required to hold a public hearing prior to adoption of the budget.
And so this is not a record keeping, this actually is new.
It does require action.
This is a new one.
Right.
So folks, basically what I've got, I propose that we have the budget hearing at the regularly scheduled board meeting in November, which would put that meeting November 13th.
Okay.
And then by rule, we have to publicize 10 days, now I'm sure that's a minimum of 10 days,
Yes,
10
sir.
days prior to that meeting. And so,
It's 10 days before the meeting, before you hold the hearing.
right,
Yes, sir.
so Teresa has come up, she has some notifications or drafts, I guess she had pulled them off from the past and just adapted it. And so I'll turn over to legal next year, you have to deny over, and this is one that's going on the website. If you don't see any issues with those, so that would put the notification running from October 30th to November 6th is how that would be. So Teresa's got those done.
It would be 2 cycles in the St. Tammany Ball.
What happens to anything in the advocate?
You're not required, it's just your,
Well, we had a resolution that we passed,
typically that's only for villages.
okay, so that's the only,
Isn't the farmer now part of the advocate?
They're one and the same, yes.
Yeah.
The resolution says that the farmers are official journal, that meets the regulatory statute, but we go above and beyond, which is also a statute, that you must publish for millage advertisements in a larger circulation,
not necessarily.
not necessarily.
Okay. Do you have any issues with that?
No, I think that's good. The only thing she apparently knows that gives you about 10 days to actually get that notice to the newspaper and get it out.
Yeah, so we don't have much time to play around.
Not, but yeah.
Okay, so, for the record, our legal counsel has reviewed both notifications that Teresa has, and he endorses both of them. One to go for the newspaper, and one to go for the website. All right, so that brings us to the resolutions. We'll need a motion to adopt the resolution 2024-036.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution 2024-036.
Okay, for the purpose of advertising for the budget.
Okay.
Do we have a second on that? Do we have any discussion from the board? Any from the administration? Do we have any comments from the audience? I hear none, so let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of adopting 2024-036, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't hear any, so the resolution passes. And so when Teresa gets back, I don't know how long she's gonna be out, so let's plan on getting with her probably Monday. I don't know what all she has to do or how long she'll be out, but when she gets back, let's go ahead and get with her and make sure that we have everything for that.
I'll take that up in the minute station. Don't know.
He's watching live.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no doubt she's keeping an eye on us. Okay. Next up is a resolution for, we've already done this one, that's the 032. So next up is item 5, uncollectible debt. And So there's a handout, have you passed those out yet?
I didn't, but they can see.
Just the board, come for the board.
We'll do the packet too.
Yeah, the copy machine's giving you.
If anybody wants a paper copy, I'll make sure that you get it. Okay, so just a little bit of comment around it. As you know, over the years, our ambulance billing practices have been less than desirable. We have either not pursued or we have written off a considerable amount of debt for the ambulance billing. You may also remember that the practice of writing off the debt is in violation of the Louisiana Constitution, the revised statutes, and guidance from the Louisiana State Attorney General, as well as the guidance from the LLA legal counsel. They, and Herworth and Shane, said that we have to, by law, make every attempt to collect this. And we've been wrestling around with that data, trying to make heads and tails out of it for quite a while. And with the help of the new billing company, Coronas, we are confident that we've been able to complete the investigation and now to bring to the board some information to act upon. And so I've got this together. I'm not sure, Michael, people at home can see it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's live. So Coronas broke it down for us and gave us a report, and if anybody wants to see the detailed report, I'd be glad to give it to them. I want to say there's thousands of entries, so if you care to look at them, you can have them as public information. But I was able to break it down into basically two big blocks. And the first block is the accounts that have no potential to collect. And just to break it down to folks, this goes back, the auditor said 3 years, but we was able to capture 4 years of data. So we went ahead and just did the 4 years in our analysis. And over the 4 years, we had billed out $4,785,291. Of that we billed out, and that was for ambulance, or EMS. Of that, we received back in payments, $1,468,391 is what we got back, which has a subtotal of $3,316,000. And what had happened was $3,202,000 of that money was written off. And now that write-off, just so that we're clear, some of it was that it had to happen because we got Medicare and Medicaid is the biggest chunk of that money. And both of those have limits as to what you can get back. And so those buckets of money, there's nothing at all we could do with. That's the law, and it's done. The other bucket is that there were some that were just forgiven, a chunk of money, just flat out forgiven. The best criteria I could figure out is that if an individual had a Macomb address, no attempts. They one bill went out, payment was fine, no follow-up attempts went, and it was just forgotten about. Then there was bad debt. Don't really get how that is. That's just people that they go back. Bill went to them. They were outside of the parameters of the Lacombe area, and nope, they ain't paying it. And so it was given away. That equaled about 114,000 of it. So what was left behind is we have a total of write-off and bad debt of $3,316,899. And as I already said, the only other thing, to add to what I've said about Medicare, Medicaid, and the debt forgiveness is some of that money, I even asked the collection, Wellness, is there any attempt, is there anything that we could go get? And they said, it's just too old. It's just, can't do it. It's just simply too old. So there is that money that we have to account for and clear from our books. So also just, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, clear from our books, it never was on the books.
There lies the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is part of what we'll have to do.
Put it on the books and then clear.
There will be an accounting that has to occur. I am not a CPA. So Tim has been engaged, and we will have Tim with PMI, which is CPA there. We will have to get it into our books to clear. As you point out, you can't forget what's not there.
Right.
Right, so we're gonna have to do some accounting just to get it into the books, and then do the appropriate accounting to clear the books of that debt. This is another section of the analysis, is that we have found money that does have the potential to collect. And of that money, there's about $723,733 that's out there. Of that money that was billed out, we've got back $127,000 of a total of 596. There was some write-off in that. That was back when the old administration was here. We're not convinced that that's too old not to pursue, but even if we didn't pursue that money, there's still some nearly $400,000 that our billing company thinks that there's a potential. I mean, she's not giving us, any guarantees at all, but there are some potential that we could recover, about another 400,000 and maybe a little bit more of that. So I just wanted to bring that piece to you about the potential to get some back. But we're gonna have to take an action on the uncollectible debt.
Mr. Chairman, can I offer a suggestion? Because we're gonna have to amend your budget to add this write-off into your budget,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, your 2024 budget, is let me get with Tim and have him give us a proper way to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And make that into a formal resolution maybe for the November meeting. And that way we'll have it cleared in 2024. We will have the legal mechanism from the board and the accounting mechanism for the books to kind of make that.
I'll put that to the board. So we could table this until the November meeting and clear it all up then. Or we can take action tonight. So it's strictly up to the board. So we'll open that up to discussion.
You gotta see.
Uh,
Gary back originally.
Gary, let me address the board first, and then I'll move it out, okay? So any discussion on the board as to which direction you prefer?
Well, if we're gonna wait until we look at into accounting, we might as well table it until the next meeting.
It's just a matter of, it's a clear cut thing. The accountant says put it here, then the accountant says take it out.
I'm not an accountant, so I don't know if it's clear or not.
Or you're
That's pretty simple, but
It is pretty simple, but we're also gonna have to amend your current budget to
Right.
put that accounting into it
yeah.
and then write it off. I'm just making a suggestion that it would give us the ability to clear everything at one time and the board understand, and then us have a formal motion to go back to, so we could point our finger and say, we did it.
I'm for the cleanest way to do it. This is a very undesirable thing. This is this is a lot of money, and I want to do it right. That's Dean's opinion.
Okay.
Offering us the right way to do it. So
Right, well, what is it though? Should we do the resolution tonight to give you the clear, wait till November and handle it all at once?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to footnote, with, if it's possible, why certain debt has been written off, so if the public comes back years from now, we can say it was too old to be collected, things of that nature.
Yes,
So we can bake all that into the resolution, so if someone has amnesia 5 years from now, then we can point to a resolution that show that.
What we do, and listen, it's, there's good service in the audit. I'm sure the auditor's gonna raise an eyebrow.
due diligence.
And I think part of our process would be to get with Jim Tong, your legislative auditor for the district,
Yeah.
and ask his guidance is the best way to place this into the financials so it doesn't come up with an audit finding.
Perfect. Doc,
Yeah, if these things are going into collection and actually they,
did you come in, you have difficulty hearing you?
I said, if these are things are going into collection and you've attempted a few times to try and collect the monies and they still don't pay, some of the collection services will kind of do like a pay me half of it offer. But you have to do it by a certain time, like you can do it maybe for the end of the year or something, where they have a reduced collection, maybe it'd be more apt to pay it.
I've completely turned that over to Coronas. They are the experts in that. So, I don't know if you know, but we used to use Insight billing. We no longer use Insight. Insight did not have a collections branch in the business. The new company does. And I'm gonna leave it to those experts to figure out how to manage that.
And I think that's also standard procedure with the approval of the client, meaning us.
Correct.
You know, are we willing to give a discount if they pay out right now or, you know, but that's detail that we're gonna have to get
The
in.
only thing I'll add to that is that this is government money.
Right,
And you can't start discounting government money.
true.
You have to make every attempt to collect government money. So I'd be a little bit leery of offering incentives.
Yeah, the word discount's kind of bad.
And in any way, it's, you can't discount it, you can't, it's good, it's you have
Either
to
pay or
make,
you don't.
you have to make the attempt to collect the debt.
And this would be in the attempt to collect the debt, and the guy said, I don't have $3,000. And then somebody said, oh, well, give me 2,500, or, you know.
I don't want to be in the collection business. Let those folks do that, I don't want to
Do that.
down in their world. So what we have now is, I guess, just a motion to table it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. In a second, we have a second, so we're all in favor of tabling. And any opposed? I hear none. Okay. All right, so brings us to number 7. Annual leave buyback. Let me ask a couple of questions. So this is something that the chief wanted to put on the schedule, on the agenda. I do have a couple.
I'm sorry, did we skip number 6?
No, we did that.
Yeah, gotta pay attention. All right, so,
Oh, yeah, okay,
have we settled on what the policy is gonna be on how much an employee can accumulate?
Yeah, I think we agreed that the 300 number is still
That's what y'all
standard,
see.
yeah.
Okay, I know you was gonna work with Pat, to figure that
So we're
out.
looking at that because of the different rates. At a certain amount of time, people get more hours as they get more time. And so limiting the 300, we were just kind of thinking if somebody's new on the job, that's great. But if somebody's got a lot of time on the job, that may not be so great for that person. But whatever y'all come up with is fine. I mean,
So if you guys are just where you settled,
I think we're good with that, yeah.
all right? And then listen, it's can always go back and be adjusted sometime in the future if it doesn't fit, all right? And so you guys are, from what I understand, it's 25,000 is what we're wanting to buy back this year. So that's correct? Okay. If we buy back that 25,000, what's gonna be the balance that we still gonna owe people?
About 20 to 21.
So about 21,000 is still gonna be left in the balance of it.
We started the year at about 90,000. So after Keith Kearns retired, Chief Seacard retired.
Yeah, so those two were given, so those weren't really,
Right, but they were the bulk.
That was
Yeah.
bad.
Bulk sum.
Yeah.
Right, so it's went from 90 to,
down to 46, so roughly 46, and now we're
yes,
wanting to bring it down to the 25.
I have a question, and if we're able to do this and knock it down, will that affect bond rating? If it's not enough money? No. Okay. So that's it.
Oh, all right.
I'd like to make a comment on that also. I said it before in a previous meeting, that this problem is just an old problem from years back. This is not a problem we're gonna have going forward because
Oh, yeah.
to get people the same. So this is
Yeah, we
just resolved.
recognize that it's a new department, so this is a whole lot different place. Okay. So there's a question to it, and so there was a question about Chief Geisler's. And I was gonna bring it to legal and to HR. And the question is at what rate do we buy that, Mike? So Mike has just went from the assistant chief to the interim chief. And so how does that work? Are we gonna have to do we pay him at the assistant chief's rate? Or do we pay him at the chief's rate?
That'll be a civil service, because if he's not confirmed in the position, that may affect that.
Correct. I mean, I think the board can, obviously it's a privilege of the board, so you can choose to pay it either rate. But, and no offense to Chief Geisler, but he's in a provisional appointment until you go through the formal process of selecting the final
Right.
chief. And if he was a selection and was in a non-provisional position and in his working test period, there's no question he would have to be paid at the higher rate. The board can choose to pay him at the higher rate today if it's your privilege to do that. But as Commissioner Murphy said, or Arsenault said, technically he is still not confirmed at the fire chief rank. So the question could involve, if someone's in a temporary upgrade, would you pay him at a temporary upgrade rate, or would you pay him at their last confirmed classification? And typically it always falls to the last confirmed classification.
And just to make sure that it's not gonna be an issue with that, if we can maybe get some clarification on it.
And we got some questions in, but then it came back with some opinions about, well, civil service really doesn't determine what pay you can give people.
Correct.
So we can do it this way, and this is probably the best, the cleanest, is 25,000. We'll need get a motion to approve 25,000 in annual buyback
For this year.
for this year.
And then you start over on 25, and that 21 is hanging out there to be dealt with later?
Down the road. If
Okay.
you recall the conversations when we had this it was after Keith left, and we discussed this, and it was discussion of the board is that we attempt to buy that down over a 3-year period. This was the discussion. That's going to take a big chunk out of that money. But a good example of why to do this is the quandary that we've got with Michael, right? So, this is why you don't want to accumulate it,
Right.
because I don't know how many hours you got, but some of those hours could have been as a captain.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean,
could have been.
it's irrelevant when he earned it,
That's right.
because that's not how it's paid out.
Correct.
So, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and my point to that, Murphy, is that you know, if people just keep piling it in the bucket and then go through the promotional phase, what they earn as a captain, they be paying it out as a chief. So from the money perspective, if they follow the policy, you keep it down,
Right.
it's beneficial for them as well as the department from an economic perspective.
So it's obvious you're over 300. So we need to do whatever we can to fix that so that everybody's conforming to policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, so we gotta make sure the goose is in following policy as well. So, I mean, it may take a little sting, but I mean, it's just something that.
My understanding that they've been doing that, the guys are working it down.
The 21 should just start to gradually go down as the year goes on too. Everybody that's above, already spoke to every one of them individually. They're submitting more days than they're accruing by far, which was the problem before. So that number is going to go down over time.
Yeah, technically, we don't see any issue. We can, should be able to just do this right here.
Yeah, so I would say break it into two pieces. So let's have a discussion around the approval of the 25,000 and talk about how we want to pay Michael separately. Because what we're approving is 25,000. And how it pays out at that point doesn't matter. So that was the request, 25,000. Do we have a motion
One
to,
more question, is there more, we're talking about other employees also, not just mine.
you know,
Are
The
there,
total is 6, 2 of them are inconsequential amounts that I can work down just by having them put in time. There's 4 of them, 2 of them in particular that have very high hourly amounts saved up,
Yeah.
similar to chief.
okay, so it's kind of.
Mostly addressing the employee for now, that 25,000 are.
and just to be very clear, it wasn't anybody abusing anything, it was necessity, is how that,
Good, sure.
yeah, that's how that amount accumulated over time.
Right, and the more it accumulates, the longer it goes, the bigger the debt is, the less.
I view it as a debt because that's their money. It's in our bank earning us interest,
And
and
we know
it's
it.
their money.
Well, that's it.
And everyone that's on that list has been your full timers for a long term. The only reason everyone else isn't is because they haven't been here long. I would have been on that list, but as chief would remember, I was working so many hours after COVID that I would actually vacation my own work days to have to work the other work days to keep the med units in service. So that's how bad it was at a certain point. So as Commissioner Hall said, it's no fault of anybody. That was the issue.
Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor for the 25,000. Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a second. So any more discussion from the board on this? Any from the admin? Do we have any comments from the public? No?
Give it a moment.
What's up?
Give it a moment.
Let him have it.
Let them have it.
Gotta see the man. Pay the man.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor, we're down a second, no further discussion. So all in favor of doing the 25,000, aye? Any opposed? I hear none, so the motion for the 25,000 is approved, so you're gonna do a resolution for that to clean it up.
Do we need one to the 21? The 21,000.
Up to your allowed 300 cap.
Yeah.
So that's just policy there, that's internal policy.
No, 300, that the 21 remaining is actually what's needed to bring the remainder of the
Down to
hours to the 300.
Down to 300. We'll address that at a later date, because there are gonna be some efforts to burn that down through the normal process.
Billing fluctuations.
Yep, so there's no point addressing that now. So the next question comes in, what's the pleasure of the board is for Chief Geisler. And we have some options. One of the options
I
was
think
about,
we pay him at the current rate. If there's no, we're not violating anything. Pay him at the current rate.
There's no hard ache either way, so it's really the pleasure of the board.
and so.
And I don't mean to talk about your third person, but I'm just, I mean, if there's
So
no.
he's paying down at the current rate, paying back at the chief's rate.
At the chief's rate.
At the chief's rate.
Yeah.
Is there anything from the legal that we should be considering?
As I understand, the proposition is to pay him at the higher rate, at
Yeah.
the chief's rate. There certainly is not any issue with that.
There's no issue, we're not violating anything anywhere.
No, I think he's currently being paid that if he were to take his leave, that would be the amount that he would be taking as he takes it right now.
Right.
Yeah, I think the advice you've already been given is correct as well. That since it's a provisional position, that you have the opportunity to pay him at his former rate, but I do think that if the suggestion is paying as though he was taking the vacation today, then that would be a chief rate.
I will add to this that I've had a conversation, we're not talking but a couple, $3 an hour difference?
No, it's like 10. It equates to about 5.
About $5 an hour difference is all we,
No, it's about $10 an hour difference approximately, but it's about a $5,000 difference total.
$5,000.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've got,
Need a motion or?
well, so one of them is to go ahead and do, paying at his current rate. Is there any other thoughts on that?
No,
No, all right, so.
and to be clear, the current rate is fire chief rate.
That's the acting fire chief.
Yeah,
So that probably should be in motion.
yeah, we need to put it in the form of a motion.
And we get a resolution next week.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Yes, I would.
Okay, so we have a motion
For him to be paid at the
To be
fire.
paid
at the fire chief's rate.
Yeah.
Do we have a second on it?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? I hear none. Anything from the administration? None? Anything from the audience? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Huh?
We're good.
I hear nothing from the audience, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I hear none, so the motion passes, so you'll be paid at the chief's rate.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And
Thank you
It was on.
for overtime.
Don, you get up and take home. So we have a motion to adjourn. You second.
Okay.
Second, all in favor of adjourning? Aye. Any opposed? None? All right, folks, thank you for attending.
Good.
Good.